Hello and welcome back. In this video, actually, we're not going to be jumping into any kind of new code or new concepts. Rather, I want to show off a website that I found pretty helpful, actually, for practicing some of the things that we've learned and kind of just go based on concepts and things you might want to practice on. And this site, it's free. You don't really need to do anything. And it has both Java and Python programs. However, since I only went over Java here, I'm gonna only use the Java exercises. So the site's name is codingbat.com, and if you click on it, this is the interface. It's not the easiest looking thing, but it gets the job done. And you don't really need to make a login, but if you want to save your progress, you can. And um, so I have already clicked like warm up one, and I've clicked on the first one. And so we're gonna just go over maybe one or two of these exercises, kind of run through how you would solve them, and in order for that to, like how to basically A, use the site, and B, just go through these exercises. So I'm gonna resize my window before I get started. Okay, so since now I've kind of zoomed in, let's go and let's just jump straight into it. So our first problem here is this right here. So I'm going to read it out. The parameter weekday is true if it is a weekday, and the parameter vacation is true if we are on vacation. We sleep in if it is not a weekday, or, notice that, or we're on vacation. Return true if we sleep in, and they always give us some kind of little examples to work off of. So this is the method name sleep in, and they pass in false, false. So it's not a weekday, and it's not vacation, but since it's not a weekday, we can sleep in, so true. True, false. So it is a weekday, and we're not on vacation, so we cannot sleep in. And false, true. So it is not a weekday, and it is vacation, so we can definitely go to sleep or sleep in. So they basically want us to write some code that kind of outputs this. So let's jump right into that. First of all, what I want to do is I want to set up some kind of boolean to return. So I'm just going to name it boolean sleep in, or actually that's the method name, so let's just call it boolean sleep. And by default, I'm just going to set it equal to false. Now, I also know that I'm going to have to return a boolean later on, and I know that I want to return this boolean sleep. So my last line is going to be return sleep. Now, obviously, I haven't applied any logic to this, and if I were to just submit it like this, it's just going to give me like a bunch of errors. It might work for one or two test cases, but for the most part, it's just not going to work, and it's not very logical. So um, what I want to do is I want to apply some logic. So to think about what they're asking, right? If it's vacation, right? It doesn't matter if it's a weekday or not. If vacation is true, then we're automatically sleeping in, right? So I want that to be the first thing that the program checks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an if statement right here. If vacation. So normally I would write if vacation equals true, right? But in this case, since it's a Boolean, if vacation is true, this statement is going to read if true. And if it's false, it's going to read if false. So I don't really need to complicate it that much. All I have to do is just write if vacation. And if vacation is true, then sleep is going to be equal to true. Because it doesn't matter if weekday is true or false. If vacation is true, then sleep in is also true. Now, if it's not a weekday, then we can also sleep in, right? So I want to have another if case for that. So I'm going to have if, and instead of just weekday, because that basically checks if weekday is true, and we don't want weekday to be true. We want it to be false. We want it to be a weekend day. So I'm going to put this exclamation point over here, which basically says if not weekday. So if not true, then it's false, right? So basically we're saying if it's not a weekday, right, then also sleep is going to be equal to true. So we're also going to sleep in, right? And if it goes into neither one of these test cases, that means it's either not a vacation day or it is a weekday. And by default, we've already set it equal to false, so it should just return false. Now I'm gonna hit go over here, and right here on the side, it's giving me a nice little interface over here that shows all the test cases and then gives me an all correct. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit next and work on this next um, challenge. So here we have two monkeys, A and B, and the parameters, which are right here, A smile, B smile, indicate if each is smiling. We are in trouble if they both are smiling or if neither of them are smiling. Return true if we're in trouble. So I'm going to kind of start off like last time. I'm going to set up a boolean, right? So boolean trouble. And by default, I'm just going to put it equal to false. And then go down, and I'm going to be, in the end, since, again, I want to be returning a boolean, and I have a boolean right here, I'm most likely going to be returning this boolean. So I'm going to be returning trouble. And that's it, but now we have to go apply logic to it. So there are two ways to go about this problem, right? There's the easy way, and then there's the longer way. I'm not going to say it's harder because, you know, the logic is kind of the same, but I'm going to go through the longer way first. And in that case, what I want to do is I want to write two if statements, right? I want to write if a smile, and if we remember from last time, a smile, which means it's either true or false, right? So if it's true, right? And I also want to check if monkey B is smiling, right? So to check if it's and, right? So in order to check two cases, I need to use double ampersand. So and B smile. That basically checks if both A and B are smiling, right? Then are we in trouble? Yes, we are, right? And the second if would be if neither of them are smiling. So it's kind of like the same thing, if, but instead of A smile and B smile, it's if not A smile and not B smile. So look how I did the exclamation points to both A smile and B smile. It doesn't carry over because there's the double ampersands in the middle that kind of block the exclamation point from kind of carrying over. So we need to give B smile its own not statement. And in this case, same thing, trouble equals true, right? And I can return trouble, and yes, as you can see over here, it's all correct. Now, the easier method would be to keep the Boolean trouble and return trouble, but instead of just that, what I can do is I can think, hey, if both A and B are smiling, or if neither A and B are smiling, then we're in trouble, right? So I can basically check if A and B are doing the same thing, we're in trouble, right? So I can just write one if statement right here. If A smile, right, equal B smile, right? And if they're both equal, then I'm going to say trouble is equal to true. And that's all I have to do. If I hit go, I still get that same thing over here. Because if they're both doing the same thing, right, true and true, then yes, we're in trouble. False and false, yes, we're in trouble. If they're both doing separate things, then no, we're not in trouble. So that's basically, you know, those two exercises, and that was just me showing off this website. I may go back and do some more, but I definitely encourage all of you guys to go and just try it out on your own, because these are fun. They're fun if you know what you're doing, and if you're not, it's at least fun to try to think through it, and it's definitely worth a shot. So yeah, thank you for watching.